Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 8th National ICT Summit, live from Windhoek, Namibia. Your host, Delilah Katanga and John Ikonja.
Resilience. Resilience is defined as the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly and to stand through difficulties, to stand with toughness.
We are all well acquainted with the term survival of the fittest, which in essence means for people to move forward, we need to adapt to change.
For the past 8 years, the government of the Republic of Namibia has hosted the National ICT Summit. This is a platform for us as a nation to engage in conversations as to how we can adapt to change in the ICT sectors.
This year we host under the theme Building Resilience to Adapt or Change, or die rather, in an era of digital transformation and artificial intelligence.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Delilah Katanga.
And I am Johnny Konja. Thank you ever so much for joining us this beautiful morning for the 8th National ICT Summit.
As we commence this particular morning, it is important that we identify the importance of being in this room, which is engaging in conversations about information as well as communication technology advancements. But first, please may we all rise for the singing of the national as well as the AU anthem. We may all be seated. Before we proceed with our agenda, please allow us to observe the necessary protocols of our distinguished guests. Honorable Emma Theophilus, Minister of Information and Communication Technology. Honorable Modestes Amutse, Deputy Minister of Information and Communication Technology. Honorable members of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on ICT as well as Innovation, members of the diplomatic community, Dr. Audrey Mate, Executive Director of MICT, Mr. Gernot Pipmeyer, Director and Secretary General of NATCOM, captains of the industry, management and staff of MICT, distinguished sponsors, esteemed stakeholders, as well as members of the media. All protocols observed.
Well, with that said, we're now going to, of course, immediately now start with our program. And with that, we're going to welcome the Executive Director at the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Mr. Audrey Mate, to give us the welcoming remarks.
Director of Ceremonies or Protocols observed. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I only heard Mr. Similo. Good morning, everyone. Now I've heard Tim. Good morning. Okay, now I didn't hear anyone at all. Good morning. Yes, I assume everybody else slept yesterday, except for my two bosses. It's understandable because they were at a port, so all us, we should have the comfort of having slept fairly early last night. Now we are gathered today for the 8th ICT Summit, and we are very happy that all of you have honored the invitation to come and join us. This summit is important because it really brings together industry leaders, policymakers. We hear they are members of the Standing Committee of ICT. It brings together members of the academia. It brings together also the youth, because on Wednesday we have dedicated a day just to showcasing our innovation coming from young people. ICT presents us with the opportunity to do things that we were not able to do in the past 30 years. It has changed because it provides us the agility to move with the time. I was saying yesterday that the software on your phone yesterday, we are going to update it today because it's of no longer of use because of times that have lapsed in the last 12 hours. We depend on the ICT sector to drive the agenda of the country so that Namibia becomes a smart country, so that ICT become an enabler for development of our country. As we develop NDP 6, we are hoping that ICT becomes the main theme in order to drive the rest of the country into a new world. It may be amazing that all of us may not be able to have a smartphone, but in the next couple of years, a smartphone will be the one that you will need more than you need a car. Because a smartphone must be able to do the things that in the comfort of your home. As you see in the next couple of months, government is intending to have an adaptation of a consolidation of national documents so that you don't walk around with 5 cards, voter's card, social security card, GIPF card, and all of that. But those need to be consolidated on one document, that you use that even to vote. This is our dream. We hope that all of us are going to fall into this thinking so that we develop our country further. I'm done. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, once more, please can we give a warm round of applause. Now, as mentioned, it is important that we continue to adapt to change. As we've also highlighted as well, our theme for this particular year at the 8th National Summit includes the ability to build resilience. So in light of building resilience, kindly allow us to move over to the next part of our program. As we tackle conversations of digital transformation, it is also important to remember that even in a world that is rapidly evolving, something remains timeless. And this particular part is the element of music. Please give a warm welcome to Ronaldo, the violinist.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Let's give it up one more time for Ronaldo, please. And with that beautiful performance, I don't think it's fair that we were just going to let you go. So certainly, please do not go away. We'll certainly need you back on stage later on to give us another performance. Happy to see a lot of young people in the room. Thank you so much for joining us for this 8th National ICT Summit. For those who are not here, or perhaps for our friends who couldn't make it, we are broadcasting live on NBC2. And of course, we're also streaming live on NBC Digital page on YouTube, as well as that of the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology on Facebook. Once again, it's a pleasure to stand before you here to gather bright minds in the ICT sector to, of course, deliberate on a lot that has been changing in the digital transformation or digital era. And for now, we're going to go to the next item, which is on our program. It's, of course, to introduce our next speaker.
Exactly. And the next part is a message from Ms. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union.
Ronald, welcome them on stage.
I wish I could be with you in person. I wish I could be with you in Windhoek to celebrate the remarkable strides Namibia has made on its digital journey. With a consolidated ICT policy and ongoing digital strategy development, Namibia's drive to close the digital divide is commendable. There's been no shortage of exciting digital developments. From drafting a national emergency telecommunications plan through the policy and regulation initiative for Digital Africa, to the National E-Waste Monitor published this year, I would encourage you to use this document to inform your e-waste management strategies and policies going forward. A new connection to international subsea cable network has game-changing potential to bring meaningful connectivity to communities across the country. You can be proud of this important work done towards building resilience. Let me also highlight Namibia's incredible support for young people through initiatives like the LEAP Digital Talent Program and GIGA, which aims to connect every school on Earth to the internet by 2030. And of course, Minister Emma has been a leading light in getting young people involved and excited about the power of digital for social transformation. ITU is fully supportive of Namibia's ambitious digital agenda, and we're ready to help realize it by building capacity at every level of digital transformation, including in emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. Let's strengthen our partnership further to ensure Namibia's digital sector not only adapts, but thrives in the age of artificial intelligence. I'm eager to see Namibia continue its current trajectory as the inspiring story of its digital transformation journey unfolds. You can count on ITU to be a partner in building a resilient, inclusive, and innovative digital future for Namibia, Africa, and the world. Thank you, and I wish you an inspiring and productive National ICT Summit.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we've highlighted, the theme for this particular year's National Summit is building resilience to adapt or die in an era of digital transformation as well as artificial intelligence. Now, as we continue with our program, please allow me to call upon the stage for the keynote address, Honorable Emma Theophilus, Minister for Information and Communication Technology. A warm round of applause, please.
Director of Ceremonies, thank you very much for the introduction.
Honorable Modestus Amse, the Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Information, Communications Technology, who's also joining us for the first time at the ICT National Summit as a Deputy Minister and a former Chairperson of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on ICT. Honorable Members of Parliament's Standing Committee on ICT and Innovation, members of the diplomatic community, captains of industry and our valued partners, many who are in the room, management and staff of the Ministry of ICT, distinguished sponsors, esteemed stakeholders, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all of you who have registered to join us for this next 3 days for this very important national summit, all protocol observed. A very good morning. I don't like the energy in the room yet. And also, we are not using our devices. We should be taking pictures and videos and taking selfies and posting them and tagging the Ministry of ICT and all the partners at this ICT Summit. A very good morning to you all. Wonderful. Thank you very much for joining us at this very important 8th National ICT Summit, which is growing in leaps and bounds to try to set the tone in terms of ICT transformation in Namibia. Ladies and gentlemen, it is both an honor and privilege to address you at the opening of the 8th National Information and Communication Technology Summit under this year's theme, as indicated many times before, and I quote, "Building Resilience to Adapt or Die in the Era of Digital Transformation and Artificial Intelligence." Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here in Windhoek, where 3 days we will converge here at the National ICT Summit, we are at a pivotal moment in our nation's digital journey. The summit is not just an event, but a significant milestone in our ongoing efforts to shape Namibia's future in an increasingly digital world. In the current era, digital transformation and AI are reshaping every facet of our lives, from how we communicate and work to how we access services and interact with each other. Technology is driving change at an unprecedented pace. This transformation brings remarkable opportunities for innovation, economic growth, and social advancement. However, it also presents challenges that require thoughtful and proactive responses. Directors of ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this summit captures the essence of the challenge we face. To thrive in this new digital era, we must not only adapt to technological changes, but also build a robust and resilient framework that can withstand the rapid pace of these advancements. Our focus must be on ensuring that digital transformation benefits all Namibians and drives sustainable development across all sectors. The International Monetary Fund recently ranked Namibia 9th out of 54 African countries in terms of preparedness for the adoption of artificial intelligence in 2024. This ranking indicates that Namibia has made significant progress in developing the infrastructure and the underpinning environment necessary to leveraging AI technologies, showcasing the country's commitment to adapting to an evolving digital era. AI is at the forefront of this digital revolution. It holds immense potential to transform industries, enhance productivity, and solve complex problems. However, integrating AI into our systems and processes presents challenges, including ethical considerations, data protection, and the need for regulatory frameworks. As we embrace AI, we must ensure its deployment is transparent, ethical, aligned with our national values and priorities. And the idea behind it all is to ensure that AI is for the public good. Furthermore, the government of the Republic of Namibia is in the final stage of enacting the data protection and the cybercrime bills while proceeding with efforts to amend or repeal or replace our current Communications Act to encompass this advancement of the technological space. This important legislation will protect our people's personal information and their online presence while simultaneously safeguarding our digital infrastructure. On the 12th of August, I was in Helena, Fiji on International Youth Day. And I did indicate that our digital footprints are not like our physical footprints. The digital world is unforgiving. It doesn't forget easily. And once we have made something go online, it's sometimes very difficult to take it down or to erase it forever. So we must find ways to ensure we have the digital literacy necessary to know how we interact online, have those ethical considerations when we participate online like we do offline, and we ensure that our footprint on the digital spaces is something we can defend and something we can stand by. Otherwise, it has the potential to work against us. Maybe not today, maybe not in 5 years, maybe not in 10, but certainly if it's something you might feel that will work against you in the near future, it's best to try to keep your digital footprints as clean as possible or be able to defend it because it's a value you hold dear to you. Ladies and gentlemen, digital technologies are also transforming the way we deliver public services and engage with citizens. From e-governance to digital health and education, these technologies offer new ways to improve service delivery and enhance the quality of life of our people. We must leverage these technologies to make government services more accessible, efficient, and responsive to the needs of our citizens. This year, in around March, we were debating the national budget in the National Assembly. And I remember I was interacting with as many users as I could on Twitter to ask what are some of the issues I could raise in the National Assembly. And chief amongst it was issues around the Public Service Commission and the application of government posts to move it from manual to online spaces. And I remember asking the Prime Minister that, you know, Honorable Prime Minister, the young people are crying. The young people are saying enough is enough. They're tired of applying for government jobs manually. We want to move it online. And we started the conversation with the Public Service Commission, and we are now trying to see where we can collaborate between the Ministry of ICT, the Office of the Prime Minister, and the Public Service Commission to ensure that government posts can now be processed online as opposed to young people or citizens traveling distances to mail government applications or going to government offices in towns far away from where they live. And this is a digital transformation we want to start in public service delivery. Therefore, with our local and international partners, we have developed a national digital strategy, and I'm very thankful to the Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union, Madame Doreen Bochter-Martin, a very good friend of Namibia, the first female Secretary General of the I2U, who has been very supportive of the efforts we've been trying to do in Namibia. Because unfortunately or fortunately, Namibia is not an island on its own. We form part of a bigger community, whether it's SADC level, at the African Union level, or the global community, where advancements in technology are moving faster. And because we are a smaller state, we are a developing state, others are moving more advanced than us. So either we align and learn, or we pay attention to those advancements and try to catch up, or we continue to build relationships to ensure that definitely we are not left behind. Therefore, with our partners, we're able to develop this national digital strategy, which will narrow the digital divide, promote digital literacy, provide access to citizen-centric digital public services, as I've indicated earlier, and create greater economic opportunities for all Namibians. I thus urge our public and private institutions to prioritize the digitization of their services to ensure that the public access of their services can be accessed from all over the world. To navigate this technological change, a skilled workforce is crucial. prioritizing education and training in digital skills, including STEM education and digital literacy, ensure that citizens are equipped to thrive in the digital economy. Supporting initiatives that promote these areas from an early age is key to long-term process and long-term success. And this is why, as a Ministry of ICT, we are working very closely with the Ministry of Education to see how we can get children, even from kindergarten, as digitally literate as possible. We don't want somebody turning 15 and they cannot optimally use a computer. It doesn't serve the interest of any government to have a country of citizens that are not digitally literate. And surely the government of the Republic of Namibia is not interested in having a nation that is unable to go online and leverage the opportunities online. It is not our interest to have a citizenry that is unable to run businesses online and make a living for themselves. It is not in our interest where our citizens cannot go online and get an education. It is surely not in our interest to have a nation that is not connected. Therefore, we do plead with our partners where necessary to meet us halfway to ensure that our nation becomes 100% digitally literate by 2030, moreover, to be 100% connected also by the year 2030. And I can surely believe it that that is possible with our key populations that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, innovation drives digital transformation and creating an ecosystem that nurtures this from startups to established enterprises where it's very much vital. Collaboration between government, industry, and academia is necessary to drive research, development, and the adoption of new technologies, fostering a culture of continuous improvement. I've noticed that when we are pushing this digital transformation, even in the public sector, we are fragmented. We are working in silos. Earlier this year, I put together, or actually convened, a high-level convening of experts, of policymakers in the public space to bring everybody together from research, from education, from trade and industry, from fisheries and marine resources, and various other sectors and industries, agencies of government to actually convene and say, with this national digital strategy we have actually developed and this digital transformation would like to advance, what will be your role and how can we complement one another without actually working in silos, without actually feeling like we are alone working on the solutions we'd like to drive in the digital space, and how can we bring all our efforts, all our resources, all our expertise together to ensure that we have one roadmap and that all of us are moving in the same direction. And I can assure you now that we've been, for a very few hours, we're able to look at the bottlenecks, we're able to look at the gaps and steps forward on what can be done to ensure that we work in unison and that we actually speak the same language. Ladies and gentlemen, it is essential to ensure that digital transformation is inclusive. This involves addressing digital divides and ensuring that marginalized communities have access to digital resources and opportunities. It also requires implementing measures to protect digital infrastructure, safeguard privacy, and manage the ethical implications and economic disruptions that come with new technologies. I've actually got a call yesterday from Mr. Johannes. He's visually impaired, and he said he only learned about the ICT Summit on the news. He didn't see the call out for registration. How can people with disabilities be involved in the summit? And immediately I referred him to the colleagues that are setting up the logistics of the summit to say, for those communities that have been left out in actually coming to the summit, let's ensure that on one of the days they make it to the summit, although they heard the news late, so that we're able to actually also look at information communication technologies as a solution to the challenges that people, marginalized communities and people with disabilities are facing. And he is somebody I've been engaging with, where we've been talking about how can ICTs make life easier for those in our communities who are not able-bodied like us and agile like us and who can just stand up and go and do something, so that they do not get left behind with the technological advancement. And I'm very happy that we've been having those conversations, because it's possible sometimes to easily overlook some of the things that we think we're doing for the greater community and the entire nation, but we don't actually see the nuances in which we sometimes are blind to some of the issues our citizens are facing and some of the realities that they might face due to their challenges as people living with disabilities. And I'm glad those conversations are ongoing, because it allows us to ensure that we move together and that we don't have an advancement of certain parts of our communities, whether it's rural versus urban divide, whether we have a young population that is digitally literate, digitally vibrant, but an older generation that can't keep up, or we have some sections of society, just because of their social status, are unable to tap into the benefits of technology. That is not the interest of the government of the Republic of Namibia. And surely as a Ministry of ICT, whether it's the Deputy Minister or the ED, we are driving to ensure that every citizen feels connected to ICT in the country, feels included, feels the ability and the opportunities that come with online spaces. And that is why we are continuously engaging with Google AdSense, we are engaging with PayPal, we are engaging with Apple Pay on how we can leverage the digital economy in Namibia. We want YouTubers, the young YouTubers that are doing so great, to earn money, Namibian dollars, in Namibia, as they are constantly creating content to showcase Namibia to the world. Because as the YouTube community and the creative industry, you are making our job easier at the Ministry of ICT, where we have the mandate to brand the country. We do not want to be Namibia, the hidden gem anymore. We want the world to discover us, as they are continuously discovering us through our new and exciting industries of green hydrogen and the oil industry. And as creatives, the more you create content, the more you showcase what being Namibian is all about, showing our culture, showing our food, showing our landscapes, and showing who we are as an essence of a people, we are able to market the country through you as our citizens, without government doing it alone. So thank you to all the creatives who continue to make Namibia shine in the way they showcase Namibia, the land of the brave. In conclusion, as we embark on this summit, I encourage all participants to engage in meaningful discussions, share insights, and collaborate on solutions that will shape our digital future. The decisions we make and the strategies we develop during these 3 days will make a lasting impact on our nation's digital trajectory. Every conversation that will happen at this summit will be repertoired and will be taken seriously, because it definitely informs the trends in our industry, and it's in our interest as a Minister of ICT to actualize the aspirations and the needs of the ICT industry in Namibia. Let us embrace the opportunities presented by digital transformation and AI with optimism and determination. Together, we can build a resilient, innovative, and inclusive digital ecosystem that will drive Namibia's growth and secure our place in the global digital economy. And it's no coincidence that I'm wearing this Palestinian scarf as our commitment of the government of the Republic of Namibia and the people of the Republic of Namibia, with our solidarity with the people and the children of Palestine who are unable to tap into the international ICT space because they continue to die at the hands of the oppressor. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the distinct honor of declaring the 8th National ICT Summit officially opened. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Emma Theophilus. Please, can we just ask you to strap the stage? We have a word of Thanksgiving for you. She said the energy in the room is very tense. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, with a lot of young people in the room, I would have expected us to be much more jollier, much more excited. But you know, it only happens on the other side of technology. That's when you see them all excited and, you know, showing a lot of things happening on their phones, on social media and that.
And in light of the fact that we got permissions from the minister to take out our phones, I do believe that it's important to remember to take notes, to make videos, to take pictures, to share those on your various social media platforms, and make sure to tag the MICT as well as the NBC pages. But not just that, I want us to take a pledge today, John.
Certainly. Let's go.
Please do repeat after me. I pledge. We can do better than that. Let's try that again. I pledge.
I pledge
To continue to build my resilience.
to continue to build my resilience
In order to adapt and not die.
in order to adapt and to not die
In the era of digital transformation and artificial intelligence.
in the era of digital transformation and
Now, when we hear the word death, we get scared.
certainly.
And when we get scared, what do we do as humans? We want to adapt. We want to make sure to survive, as we mentioned earlier. So let's make sure that we adopt in this environment and embrace this digital transformation.
Absolutely. And speaking of adapt, you know, we have a lot of digital, you know, platforms now. And a lot of students being here, I see some here. Of course, we do know ChatGPT, which is on speed dial, when we, of course, are always trying to finish those assignments. So this is what we're trying to do. We're here to embrace those new technologies and, of course, just appreciate, of course, the growth of digital transformation here.
And in the light of setting the scene once more, in the light of breaking and cutting that tension once more, please allow us to have a musical piece from Ronaldo, the violinist. A round of applause, please.
It's Kylo on the beat.
All right, one more time for Ronaldo, please.
John, can I just mention something? As we're talking about digital transformation, as we're talking about adaptability, and as Ronaldo the violinist came on, that song sounded very familiar, doesn't it?
Of course. I mean, we can't even give him a platform to not play Namibian music if it wants. You know?
The most important part that I love about it, right, is that we're able to take a song with lyrics, with a different instrument that was used to create the original, and we're able to adopt it onto the platform of a violin, and we're still able to identify its unique capabilities. Isn't that right?
Just matches why we actually adopt art.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, please do take note that as we come close to the end of our program, we will have a second part of the program which includes the exhibition halls. But as we make our way out of this particular hall, kindly limit your movements as we are sharing this building with other events happening in separate halls, as well as per security protocol that has advised the presence of the president.
That's right. With that, we are now going to move to the next item where we are going to be having presentations by our stakeholders who are, of course, also joining us this very beautiful morning. And with that, we would like to welcome the first speaker who's going to give us the first presentation, which is Mr. Gernot Piepmeijer, the Director and Secretary General at NADCOM. Please, let's give him a round of applause as we welcome him on stage.
Right, good morning. Director of Ceremonies, Honorable Minister Emma Theophilus, the Minister of ITC, Honorable Modestus Amutse, Deputy Minister of the Ministry of ITC, Honorable Members of Parliamentary Standing Committee on ICT and Innovation, members of the diplomatic community, Dr. Mate, the Executive Director of the Ministry of ICT, captains of industry, management and staff of MICT, very important, distinguished sponsors, esteemed stakeholders, member of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone involved in making this summit possible. The organizers, the sponsors, the exhibitors, and all stakeholders. Your unwavering commitment is exemplary and a testament to the crucial role in the ICT sector in Namibia's growth and development. To our esteemed sponsors, your generous contribution, both monetary and in kind, are invaluable and deeply appreciated to support the reinforcement and the essential role of this sector. We thank you. Directors of proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to look at the exhibitionists and the passionate exhibitors. We cannot wait to view and experience your innovations and skills. Your contributions are pivotal in driving the growth of our industry as you continuously adapt to the ever-evolving ICT landscape, providing that the dying or fading is not an option in these digital areas. Furthermore, I would like to acknowledge and appreciate all stakeholders outside the ICT ecosystems. Your presence here underscores the broader importance and value of ICT across all industries, and we thank you for your continuous support. Directors of proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, a special thank you goes to the team behind the scene, the organizers who have worked tireless to ensure the success of this summit. Your commitment and dedication are truly commendable, and I think they deserve a round of applause. To the media, we are grateful for your continual focus on the ICT sector and for providing the robust coverage of the summits. Your role in disseminating information and raising the awareness of an area to access information is crucial to our collective success. We are now navigating in an ever-changing ICT landscape. Let us remain vigilant and committed to creating the avenue for a prosperous and inclusive future. May this 8th National ICT Summit demonstrate our national resilience and adaptability as we continue to embrace the digital transformation and the advancement in artificial intelligence. And I see now on my right all of those sponsors we've been alerting to are presented on the board, and without the fear of really leaving any of those important partners out, there you have all our partners who contributed towards the event, and I think they also deserve a very loud round of applause. And with this, I end my vote of thank you. Thank you all once again for your presence today, and I hope you will enjoy the day with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, can we have another warm round of applause?
All right, so Mr. Pepmeyer just joined us as well in the center of the stage here for a picture, as well as good that you get to walk away with here. Well, Mr. Dr. Mate, you might be wondering, well, I was also on stage, but I didn't get anything. But please, do welcome on stage as well to get yours. Thank you so much, Dr. Mate, and I would like to apologize to everyone that's here. I actually, jumped the gun here. That was not a presentation, rather it was the vote of thanks of Mr. Pepmeyer. Thank you so much once again for having done that task very well.
John, I believe it's time that we can breathe now.
Shoo, the nerves.
There's something about the title official opening that just brings a higher presence into the room, right? And this being the official opening of the 8th National ICT Summit, it is now also important for us to realize that technology does not evolve in isolation. It is us as individuals that are able to apply it and to use it in our different environments. So we will be seeing a series of exhibitions happening, and as you exit the hall, it will be happening to the right. However, first, we do have a little bit of a correction there, and we'll be getting into some conversations and some speakers.
That's right. We are now going to get to the part that I jumped earlier on. We are now going to give it to the speakers who are going to be giving us some presentations here onwards. But for now, let's enjoy some music as we get the correct, of course, the correct title and the name of who is going to be gracing the stage to give us the presentation.
Remember what I mentioned about the selfies? This exactly is what I'm talking about.
So at last year's ICT Summit, I took a group selfie. It was posted on the platform. I just reminded that we must keep the tradition. So I'm going to ask, of course, the team here at the front, those with me, but also all of you, I ask you to please stand up so you're part of my selfie. If you don't find yourself in the selfie, it's not my problem. It's your problem, oh. Everybody say No, not loud enough. ICT. Repeat after me. My Namibia, my country, my pride. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
That's all right. Now we know why we have her as our Minister of Information and Communication Technology. Because, I mean, we just embrace it, right?
We definitely do embrace it. So as we've communicated, there will be a ribbon cutting ceremony to open up our exhibitions that will be happening in the hall. Please do take note that as we move around the facilities that we are mindful of the presence of the president, and therefore that we limit our movements in the space. Now this is the official opening of the 8th National ICT Summit, but it is day 1 of 3. Are you excited for the 2 coming days?
Oh my goodness, I'm excited because we even have a youth day that's also part of this whole, celebration of the ICT Summit. So that's going to be my favorite and looking forward for that especially.
And what I love about it as well is that even though you're not able to physically attend for the coming 3 days, you can also still join virtually, either by streaming live on the NBC as well as the MICT platforms, or watching on NBC2. So please, let's be mindful of that. For now, we'll be moving to the ribbon cutting ceremony. This will be happening just as you exit the hall towards your right. But before we do that, we need to close as we've begun.
Absolutely. And I also have it at a good authority that we are going to have one more presentation before we just get to that part. So we are now going to invite on stage Ms. Linda Ipinge-Nakale, the Director of ICT, of course, at the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, to give us one presentation. And of course, then we move to the next item, which is the ribbon cutting. Ms. Linda, please just make your way to the stage. And I advise that you just come and stand in the center. Your screen and everything else has been prepared. Please, let's give her a round of applause as she make her to the stage.
Very good morning to all of you. Good morning. Good morning. All right. I think our virtual viewers will be more louder than yourselves. Can you outdo them? Good morning. Yes, thank you so much. I stand on the protocol as observed. I will take you through the overview of our national digital strategy, which we have developed as a ministry. I think the Honorable Minister has mentioned that we have a national digital strategy in place. I'm not sure whether you're able to see there, but I will take you through with the introduction and high-level statements, the challenges, the policy alignment, and other alignments at regional and also continental, the methodology used or the approach used to develop this strategy, and then the strategic framework, the pillars, and then implementation. Then we conclude with the monitoring and evaluation. Now, one would wonder, I think the Honorable Minister also mentioned already in terms of what the strategy ought to achieve, but this is a blueprint for the country, which is quite comprehensive, to harness digital technologies for economic growth, social inclusion, and overall societal advancement. So this is not a document for the ministry, it's the document for the nation. You should see yourself in this document. So we're fortunate enough to be in those positions to be able to drive the development for you. I don't know why technology is failing me now. Yes. In terms of a high-level statement, we have the vision, which is to empower the nation. I think you can see there, to strive the digital, let me just move further, era by strategically leveraging digital innovation and national development. And then the mission, the Honorable Minister has mentioned, to create the roadmap to bridge the digital divide, to promote digital literacy, very important, and to promote citizen-centric digital public services, and then to create opportunities for all. In terms of the value, we're driven by whole of society, sustainability, agility also came out in the speech of the ED. Now, in terms of the challenges, as we're developing this strategy, I'll go through the models that we used. There are a couple of challenges that were highlighted, and you would find them, we have done a SWOT analysis and PESTEL analysis, but I've just picked out some of the challenges really that are have been picked up as we're developing the strategy. And I need to acknowledge Dr. Shanapinda, who have been involved in the initial stage of the strategy. At the time, he was a scholar, not the CEO of Telecom. So we thank you so much for laying the foundation for us. Thank you. So what has then been picked is outdated and inadequate digital infrastructure, inadequate digital skills and education. The Honorable Minister, I have a suspicious that she has seen my presentation because she covered all that is here. Outdated or absent legal and policy framework, access to electricity and affordability, access to ICT services and also affordability, the mobile broadband penetration, e-government rollout. I think we have heard from the Honorable Minister in terms of the initiatives that we want to introduce as government to ensure that e-government services are available. Low level of digitization activities and integration of local content. We talked about our creators. Low intensity of mobile app development. Yes, we are developing applications, but we need to do it at the higher speed. Security concerns. The Honorable Minister in her statement mentioned the issue of data protection and also cybersecurity. As much as we embrace digital transformation and artificial intelligence, we need to also be mindful of the fact that there are security concerns as we use those platforms. Financial constraints, which includes the investment in ICT. ICT is equally important, just like any other sector, so we need to prioritize. In terms of alignment, I will not go so much into detail, but we looked at the national development plans. We also looked at the Presidential 4IR Commission report. Prof. Peters was seated somewhere there. She chaired the 4IR, the 4 Industrial Revolution Task Force. And in the report, they advocate for the development of this strategy. So we aligned this strategy then to the 4IR Commission report, the Harambee Prosperity Plan 2, the National Development Plan, the just ended 5th National Development Plan, but also we're looking at the NDP 6, which we are currently busy with. We also looked at Vision 2030 of the Republic of Namibia. We also looked at digital financial services because we are dependent on online. We do our online transactions and all that. We aligned ourselves to the National Payment System Vision and Strategy of 2021 to 2025. I think many of you might be aware or might not be aware, but we have what we call the Electronic Transactions Act, which recognizes electronic transaction in the country and also your electronic signature. So we aligned that. So the papers that we sign and scan might not be as recognized as they should because you must have a key to be able to use your signature as recognized. We also aligned ourselves, the policies aligned to e-government, where we looked at the e-government strategy, which is under review, an IT policy for the public service, e-government policy for the Republic of Namibia in 2005. In terms of broadband connectivity, we looked at our national broadband policy. We looked at universal service and access policy. We also looked at the overarching ICT policy, which we are currently reviewing as a ministry. In the cybersecurity space, I'm not sure, maybe just to communicate to you that as a country we have what we call the National Cybersecurity Strategy and Awareness Racing Plan, which we are implementing with the partners at the moment. We have South Essential IT that came on board and we rolled out awareness creation. 2 weeks ago, the ministry, we signed the Memorandum of Understanding with Lifeline Childline Namibia for us to roll out awareness to the children. we also align ourselves to the provisions of the Cybercrime Bill that the Honorable Minister has mentioned. This is off. I can't see here. This is off, colleagues. In terms of other legislative framework, we also looked at our draft data protection bill as highlighted by the Honorable Minister. Yeah, and the cybercrime bill also. I'm sorry I have to move because my screen just got off. Okay, we can move. All right. In terms of the alignment, we looked at the UN Agenda 2030. We look at the global strategy on digital health. We look at the African Union Digital Transformation Strategy for Africa. We look at the ESADC strategic framework. We also looked at Broadband Commission. So we aligned ourselves to these documents. I talked about the methodology that we have used, which is also captured in the document, just for you to appreciate that this was not only done by us as a ministry, but it was done through stakeholders consultation. There was research and analysis done, benchmarking, looking at global trends. The Honorable Minister has mentioned inclusivity, that in the digital transformation journey, we need to be inclusive. That's also, we took in consideration. So that's why we engage various stakeholders. So there was a digital landscape assessment that was done, stakeholders workshop, also some collective quantitative data required for the assessment. And then we had stakeholders workshop, there was a survey, most of you were involved, and then one-on-one interviews. And then we finalized that first segment. We then hosted the validation workshop. Now, in terms of the framework, I've mentioned earlier in terms of the vision where we want to, what we want to see, and the mission statement. But I think key on this slide is basically the pillars. These are the 5 pillars that are, there are 5 pillars, there should be 5, that are in the strategy. We heard a lot about digital infrastructure, which is quite important, and digital skills, that's the second pillar. And then we looked at the digital government, very important, the issue of e-governance that we talked about, industry and innovation. The Honorable Minister spoke at length on that, and policy and regulation, as I've just also highlighted earlier in terms, and I think Honorable Minister also has mentioned in terms of how we are with our legislation and policies. Now, also, the strategy touches on cross-cutting themes, gender, youth, cybersecurity, and emerging technologies. I've mentioned also the issue of the fundamental or foundational values, the whole of society approach, sustainability, and agility. So this sums up actually, I think this is the heart of the strategy, to lay the foundation for us to be able to achieve the objective that we set for ourselves and address the issues that were identified throughout the process. In terms of digital infrastructure, I would just say there are various objectives. One, really looking at accelerating digital infrastructure development and accessibility. One, the strong cybersecurity measures to protect digital infrastructure against emerging threats and vulnerabilities. And these are the outcomes in terms of what we want to achieve in those objectives. The digital skills, we talk about basic literacy. I'll refer to the speech of the Honorable Minister in terms of at what level do we want to start educating young people for them to be able to use technology meaningfully, not just to insult one another, but to use that for good use. Digital pedagogies and ICT curriculum reform. This is also one of the objectives really that we would want to ensure that we equip all the digital platform users or services users. In terms of digital skills, the third objective is basically educational and administration and staff capacity. We must also not forget to focus the capacity on our staff members that are working in various institutions. Demand-led skills and job creation, that is one objective that is actually trying to prepare our individuals for digital economy, emphasizing hands-on practical experience. In terms of digital government, the objective look at slow in responding. Yeah, this is where I was. In terms of in terms of digital government, as I've highlighted, is the issue of digital identity that the executive director has spoken about, digital public services that should be available. These are the strategic objectives. Yes, also change management, quite important, and also public sector capacity. The fourth objective under this pillar is government data center and cloud plan. And whatever is being said here, some of these things are already in the process. The fourth pillar, digital and innovation, is entrepreneurship and ecosystem, deepening it, digital industrialization strategy that should be in place, research and innovation, one important area of focus there under this pillar. In terms of the last pillar, which is the policy and regulation, we are actually, the objective is about emerging technology governance, adoption of the outstanding legislation, and then regulatory sandboxes. That is one of the objectives that came out from the stakeholders that I think the industry can also interrogate. Most of your institutions were involved in the development of this strategy. Now, in terms of the implementation of the governance model, is that the Ministry of ICT would lead this. There is a thinking of establishing what we call the executive think tank that will be appointed by the minister through the process. And then the implementation stakeholders, the entities that are involved also with the strategic actions in the implementation plan. So we have an implementation plan which outline now the objectives and the targets and the resources required. And now the stakeholders are required also to ensure that they implement those that are assigned to them. MICT will provide the secretariat to ensure that the think tank and the is actually implementing or overseeing the implementation of this strategy. So I think on the right-hand side, you just see MICT, the think tank, and then the stakeholders that are key in implementing this. Implementation, the role, again, I'll just briefly touch on that to say we have a role of National Digital Strategy patron that is being actually suggested, the steering committee, and also the implementation partners. I think these are just examples to say the patron by the minister to approve and then to confirm the timeline and the resources that are required, making the final decisions and as required in terms of engagement. So this is just really just to highlight the roles and responsibility of the stakeholders, including academia, the OMAs, and all the private sector entities. In terms of monitoring and evaluation, as I'm concluding, we are expecting that for this strategy to be implemented and for us to oversee that we're implementing it, provision is made that there should be reports that are produced quarterly, annually. There should also be midterm evaluation and the end-year term evaluation. And those are the roles, just to ensure that we just don't wait until 5 years for us to do the evaluation or the monitoring, the implementation of the strategy, but then there are measures that are put in place. In short, that is actually the overview of our strategy. I will just conclude then with our way forward to say we are at the stage where our document is 90% complete. We are asking just the stakeholders to validate the activities that are assigned to them, including the budget and the timelines also. We then would finish the strategy. It's important also to highlight that before we implement the strategy, we need to take it back to Cabinet. When we started this process, we were given a go-ahead by Cabinet for us to develop the strategy. Now that we have developed the strategy, we then have to again submit it to Cabinet to approve it, then we can start with the implementation. But then before we implement, the idea is also to launch it where the stakeholders really can again get to know the details of the strategy and that there is a strategy that is in place. So that is basically in terms of my presentation, what we wanted to bring to your attention. And we tried to zoom this in, looking at the theme of this summit, talking about digital transformation. Now, as a ministry, we tried to zoom in to say, this is what we are doing as government to ensure that we drive that digital agenda. So it just so fit that we have this strategy presented to you, so you get to appreciate what has been done. Also appreciate, we appreciate your comments if you have any comments that you would want to give into this national document, because it touches the lives of all of us, myself and that of yours. Importantly, you are our stakeholders, and you might see something that we have not picked, but you're welcome to give us any of the inputs. But basically, that's all we wanted to bring to your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Another warm round of applause, please.
Thank you very much. We may all be seated. All right, before we move on to the next item on the program, which is the ribbon cutting, I would like to invite the Honorable Minister, as well as the sponsors, the CEOs of the institutions that have sponsored this event, to, of course, just join the Minister for a group picture on stage. Yes, the high table can also please join the Minister on stage as well, alongside the sponsors, to also be part of the picture.
As the Honorable Minister, as well as the High Table and our distinguished sponsors for this particular event make their way out for the ribbon cutting ceremony, it is also important once more to embrace the topic and the theme under which we're having this year's 8th National ICT Summit. But really, I just wanted to say, the elders are out, we can do our thing now. Isn't that right? So this year's ICT Summit is held under the theme Building Resilience to Adapt or Die in this particular era, hey? And as we're about to embark in those conversations, the next 3 days will be days where we are able to really tear this apart and digest all the elements that it takes to build a nation. Earlier on, I had a conversation with one of the ladies that are joining us in this particular hall, and I highlighted to her the importance of having and sharing spaces such as these, because oftentimes we're in our specific industry. You're in the broadcasting industry, you're in the IT industry, you're in the healthcare industry, and you focus on information as well as communication technology in your own industry, that we overlook what the other industries are doing. We also heard earlier from Honorable Minister that elements such as digitalizing our government applications for jobs as well are issues that are currently underway and being looked at. And when we stay in our bubble, we do not spread ourselves out to be able to identify that these are conversations that are currently happening in the country. So they will be making their way back into the hall soon, and once they do so, we can proceed with the second part of our program, which is that of the presentations. Thank you. As we make our way around the hall as well as the foyer, please may I ask once again that we be mindful of our movements. This is in light of the presence of His Excellency the President, and therefore under security advisement, please do limit your movements around the hall and the foyer.